Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while, and I know I'm not in my garage, but I'm in my house. It kind of just gives me a little bit more space to stand up because I'm going to talk about some rods and reels, and I want to be able to hold them up and show them to you guys. But anyways, I went out Saturday. Today's Monday when I'm shooting this video. I went out Saturday, did some sheepshead fishing. Good day, only on and off the water in 2.5 to 3 hours, caught 11 fish. Weeded through some small ones, but I caught one nice one, a couple nice ones, but one really nice one, 4.5 pounds, 19 inches, my personal best, and she had already spawned out. She would have weighed even more a month or two ago. But that's neither here nor there. It's a beautiful day on the water. Man, I know this is kind of like a shoulda, coulda, woulda situation. I wanted to bring the dang GoPro with me, do some on the water stuff, but I simply just forgot it. But that's okay. It's going to happen. I promise it is. Y'all just bear with me. But anyways, I'm going to get right into it, okay? And for me, this is based on fishing out of my kayak, okay, guys? I do have a little boat. I don't use it a ton, not as much as I'd like to. I fish from the bank some too. But for me, a kayak's the best vessel you can fish from for sheepshead, because we'll run through it real quick. Let's say we'll put it this way. Let's say my hand is a bridge piling. Where I fish, there's always current, unless it's slack tide. We have a 5.5 to 6.5 foot tide swing here in Northeast Florida on average. There's pretty much always current. So let's say this is a bridge piling, and let's say the current's running this way. Okay, it's hitting the piling right here. It's going to run around the left side, run around the right side. On the back side, you have what's called an eddy. The current will kind of be swirling back in. 9 times out of 10, you can put your kayak, if there's no hard wind, you can put your kayak right there and hold there pretty good. And then you can drop right down the piling on this side. You can throw it this way, let it kind of drift in the current till it gets to the bottom. And then if you don't get any bites after a while, all you got to do is push off, paddle, make a quick 180. Same thing, drop right here, drop on this side. And then for me, I'll only fish a spot for 2 or 3 minutes. Sheepshead are kind of opportunistic, in my opinion. They're either going to feed or they're not there. So if I don't get bit within about 3 minutes, I'll reel up real quick, paddle to the next piling, fish it the same way. And I can be real efficient and hit a lot of docks and bridge posts in a day. I mean, you think about it, one big bridge, you might have, I fished 3 bridges all right next to each other the other day. I had unlimited pilings to fish. To fish those, I could have fished them in a 10-hour day and maybe not hit all of them. Whereas you might have a real high-end boat with a trolling motor and spot lock. And even if you got power poles, it's kind of a deeper water technique. You're not really going to hold there. So really, if you're having to drop out an anchor on a boat, you're not going to fish a spot for only 3 minutes, because you're going to get tired of dropping and pulling an anchor all day. And you're not going to butt your $30,000 potentially plus boat right up against a bridge piling and get it beat up, versus a piece of plastic. I abuse it more than I probably should, if I'm being honest. But if I put a couple nicks and scrapes on my kayak, I'm not going to cry about it. That's part of kind of what I use it for. But anyways, 2 rod and reel setups I'll use. I'm kind of test driving what I like better. I will say, sheepshead fishing, when I go out, I take only 1 rod with me. Creek fishing, I'll take 3, even 4 rods, because there's nothing above me. I can put them in my rod holders. I'm not worried about them scraping underneath a dock or a bridge. So sheepshead fishing I am. If I put them up, they're going to get scraped. If I put them down, laying flat on my kayak, I might come into a bridge piling kind of hot, break the tip off. So I bring 1 rod with me. So one setup, this is what I used Saturday. This is an Abu Garcia Pro Max series rod. 7 foot medium heavy. Actually, it broke off, so I cut some of it off. It's actually a 6'7" now, and it's leaning more on a not so medium heavy side. That's kind of the level bend it has. Like, that's almost a heavy action rod. I think, given my preference, I would go to about the same length somewhere in like the 6.5, 6'9" range rod, and I'd probably go medium. But that's what I use now, and it does pretty good. I did have one or two pull off. They felt like small ones. But anyways, that's part of it. And then the reel, Bass Pro Shops Qualifier, pretty good reel. I bought this as a Pro Max combo. I kind of actually like the Pro Max reel a little better, to be honest. It's just held up good in the salt water, and I've had it for several years. I've had this one for half the time. Excellent reel, but I can tell it's probably getting retired from the salt pretty soon, so I can save it. I mean, and that's with me pretty religiously rinsing it off and greasing it about every couple months. Anyways, but that's the reel I use. 30-pound braid as the main line. I like slightly heavier braid, 30, 40, 50 on a bait caster. 30 is about the lightest I go bait caster braid. For me personally, I found once you get below that, the lighter diameter line kind of starts cutting into itself more. Just higher risk of backlashing and not feeding off the reel smooth. So for me, 30 and up, this particular one, 30. And then I use a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader. Fluorocarbon leader, super critical, super abrasion resistant. It's basically invisible in the water. For me, saltwater fishing, especially against barnacles and stuff, super critical component. I join it with, I believe this is called an Alberto knot, real thin diameter knot. You guys can look it up on YouTube. I'll probably do somewhat of a knot tying seminar at a later video, hopefully in the near future. But that's the knot I use. It's super strong. I've been tying it for a little over a year now, and I've kind of honestly fallen in love with it. It comes out the guide super smooth. I can easily tie it on the kayak. It's like the same diameter as a FG knot, and I can tie it, for me, in a fraction of the time that I can do a FG. So that's what I've been rolling with. And then this is like, this is the money maker, man. My buddy, I think 3 years ago, got me turned on to this. I've never used nothing for sheepshead since. This is a bottom sweeper jig. This is a 1/2 ounce. That's kind of my starting point. I'll go anywhere all the way down to a quarter up to 3/4. They make them up to a 2 ounce, but I don't really fish that deep or super crazy current. So a 1/2 ounce or 3/8 or quarter is kind of usually what I use. Slightly deeper, like 40 feet in heavy current, I will go up to a 3/4 on occasion. But mud crabs or fiddler crabs, I was using fiddler crabs on Saturday. Good bait. You just barely tip the crab right here, expose literally like a 1/16 of the hook point, if not the hook point at all. Just tip the crab there, and it's such a strong hook. If you pull into the fish on a tight line, it hooks them in the corner of the mouth, sometimes the top, usually the corner of the mouth. And when I get them in the kayak, I have to spend a couple seconds getting this thing out because it's so sharp, it's so stiff, that a lot of times I have to kind of take my thumb to pop it out of their mouth, or even occasionally I've had to take the palm of my hand and just give it a hard whack to push the hook out of their mouth. But I'd rather take 5 seconds to get the hook out of a fish's mouth with a real meaty, strong mouth, and my hook still be in flawless condition, versus my hook bent out or them barely skin hooked. I mean, this thing, it jabs in their mouth. The spinning rod I'll use, this is typically kind of what I go with. You're gonna fight the fish a little longer, but it plays them out good. When I get a bite, I just kind of take my paddle, sometimes my hand if it's a clean piling, and just push off the piling, get the fish in open water and fight them, let them wear out. But you can still put the heat on them a little bit. This is a nice, affordable rod, Ugly Stick Light Series, 6'6", medium action rod. And I'll use 15-pound braid on this. This reel was given to me, but it's a nice reel. Could be worth investing in if you got a little money that you want to invest in fishing. This is called a Tsunami Shield, and I got, like I said, 15-pound braid on it. I don't have this one rigged up, but I go the same 20-pound fluorocarbon leader, same hook, bottom sweeper jig, anywhere from a 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce. Creek fishing, I might use like 10-pound braid on my spinning reels, and I like that for the casting distance. But sheepshead fishing, I found 15 or 20 is a little better, kind of for the same reason I hit on with the bait caster, the line just cutting into itself. I find it just goes a little smoother with a slightly heavier line, because we'll go through the technique real quick. It's literally like a open the bail and drop it down technique and work the water column. You're not really doing much casting. The most you might do is if you're off the piling a little bit, you might just make a small little pitch. But same thing with the bait caster. Just push the button, let the line feed off, and then when it hits the bottom, it'll quit feeding off, reel in the slack. And I don't always fish dead on the bottom. I'll start with my bait on the bottom, and I'll fish it there for maybe 30 seconds, and then I might reel it up, 2 or 3 feet. Let it sit there for a little while. And what I do when the bait's down there, to maintain contact with it, I'll just pick the bait up every so often. Just this light little wrist motion right here. Just pick the bait up, drop it down. Because a lot of times sheepshead, and they don't always have to be small ones. It could be a big one. It's a real light bite. They're just taking that crab and just kind of peeling it off the hook. Because you think they're always kind of peeling oysters, barnacles, crabs off bridge and dock pilings, off structure. Just kind of taking those little nasty human baby teeth they got and just peeling it off. So that's what they're going to do to your hook. So it's super critical to keep a tight line. If this is me in the kayak, and let's say the surface of the kayak's right here, I keep my rod parallel with it. I don't pick my rod real way up here, because then you got too much slack in the line. You don't have sensitivity. Tight line, pick up every so often. You'll notice another thing. I like to take my other hand and just put it off to the side. A lot of times I'll put it on the butt of the rod, because when I get a bite, I'm picking up 3 to 5 seconds, every 3 to 5 seconds picking up. Let's say I feel when I'm picking up, and now I feel the fish, and then bam, I lay into them. I got a tight line, the rod's flexed, and now I can start reeling the fish up. So that's basically the gist of it. We'll probably do more videos on these as time progresses. They're kind of a wintertime, fall, winter, early spring season fish, but I fish for them here and there throughout the year. I love to target them. But thanks for tuning in, guys. God bless. Like, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. And we'll try to get the train kind of rolling on the YouTube thing again here. Appreciate it.